Title: AITA for serving a pregnant woman a non-alcoholic cocktail. Verdict: asshole. I've been waiting tables for the last 3 years at a mid-range sit-down restaurant. It's not fancy, but it's nice enough that people come for birthdays, girls' nights, that kind of thing. During my shift last night, a group of 4 women in their late 20s came in. They were honestly great customers from the start. They were laughing, polite, and easygoing. They grabbed a booth in my section and ordered 4 of our house cocktails to start while they looked over the menu for their entrees. I put in the drink order and went to grab the tray from the bar. As I was walking back to their booth with the cocktails, I passed behind them and overheard one of the women talking about how she was 14 weeks along. When I came around the other side to drop off the drinks, they were still talking about the same thing, and it was obvious she was pregnant. Let's call her Amelia. I set the drinks down, and they all seemed excited to start their night. I'll admit, I hesitated for a second when I realized Amelia was pregnant and had just ordered a cocktail, but I told myself that one drink wasn't the end of the world. I took their entree orders and went off to handle my other tables. About 5 minutes later, they called me back over and asked for another round of the same cocktails. At this point, I started getting really uncomfortable. One drink, fine, but 2, 3, 4. I know it's technically her choice, but I couldn't stop thinking about fetal alcohol syndrome and how I'd feel if I just kept serving her. I still took the order and smiled and said I'd be right back, but when I got to the bar, I pulled the bartender aside. He's a good friend of mine. I'll call him Ross. I told Ross I needed one of the cocktails made virgin. He looked confused and asked why, and I just told him to trust me and that I'd explain later. He shrugged and made one of them non-alcoholic. I brought the drinks back and nobody said anything. Amelia took a sip, laughed, and kept chatting with her friends. They ordered more food, more cocktails, and every time they ordered another round, I went back to Ross and had him make hers virgin again. I didn't say anything to her or her friends. I just quietly kept swapping her drinks for non-alcoholic versions. After a few rounds, hers all virgin, the table started getting pretty rowdy. They were laughing loudly, telling stories, and acting like a typical group of tipsy friends having a night out. Amelia was right there with them, giggling and playing along, and I figured that since she clearly didn't notice the difference, it was fine. In my head, I was thinking I'd done the right thing. They got their fun night, and I didn't have to feel guilty about serving alcohol to someone who was pregnant. The problem came when it was time for the check. They asked to split the bill at the register, so I printed everything and brought it up front. When Amelia got to the counter to pay her part, I glanced at the screen and saw that all of her cocktails were marked with virgin in the system. Ross had edited each one for inventory purposes, so the bar count would be accurate. My stomach dropped. It was too late to change anything in the system without making it obvious, and I just hoped she wouldn't look too closely at the receipt. She paid, they all thanked me, and they left a generous tip. They walked out together and stood in the parking lot for a while, still talking and laughing, probably waiting for their ride. A few minutes later, the door opened again, and Amelia came back in alone. She walked up to me with her receipt in her hand and asked, very calmly, what virgin meant next to her cocktails. I froze for a second and then admitted that it meant non-alcoholic. She just stared at me, completely expressionless, and then asked if she had ordered non-alcoholic cocktails. I said no, but I tried to cover myself by saying that I assumed she wanted them that way since she was pregnant. It was a weak excuse, and I knew it. She just kept looking at me and then asked me to return her portion of the tip. I did. She didn't yell or make a scene, but she immediately asked to speak to my manager. My manager took her into the office and after a few minutes called me in. As soon as the door closed, she absolutely lost it on me. She was yelling to the point of going hoarse, asking what I was thinking, telling me I had no right to change a customer's order without their consent. I tried to stand my ground and told her I wasn't going to be responsible for a baby ending up with fetal alcohol syndrome. I said I thought I was doing the right thing. She told me that what I did could be considered discrimination, that I had altered a paying customer's order based on her pregnancy, and that I could get the restaurant in serious legal trouble. I went home and looked up the laws in my state, and she's right. I didn't realize it could be that serious. She told me she was taking me off the schedule until she decided what to do with me. I'm basically suspended right now. When I talked to my parents about it, they said they understood why I did what I did and that my heart was in the right place. But everyone at work is against me. The bartender is mad. I dragged him into it. My coworkers think I crossed a huge line, and my manager is furious. I'm seriously considering calling my manager and quitting before she can fire me, but I still feel like I was trying to protect an unborn baby. I can't shake the feeling that I did the morally right thing, even if it was legally and professionally wrong. AITA for secretly serving a pregnant woman non-alcoholic cocktails instead of the alcoholic ones she ordered.